Welcome to the Rising Consciousness Show, 20 minutes of soulful insights and powerful tools to elevate your life experience and create with higher clarity, intention, and vision. I'm Tara Antler, intuitive healer and soul coach.
And I'm King Gabriel, spiritual teacher and practitioner. And we are the co-founders of Ascension Academy of Life,
a global center for spiritual growth, intuitive healing, and soul alignment.
Get ready to blast off. Hello, and welcome to Meaningful Manifestation Monday. Today, I'm King Gabriel, and today's topic is confidence. How can you truly exude it? How can you truly have it, right? And when we're talking about confidence, what is it that we're really speaking about, right? What is confidence? I would say that confidence is having trust in oneself or having trust that things will work out positively. Okay, so now that can come from different places. When I say trust in oneself, obviously I'm not speaking about a self that's separate from everything else, that only looks out for itself, the individual. I'm talking about a self that is integrated and recognizes itself as everything, right? When you think of it as that self, capital S self, it's a different point of view immediately, right? So then confidence is not something that you're trying to establish from a personal point of view where you're counteracting a whole bunch of other things that seem to be opposing you, right? Hi, Noreen. We're talking about confidence from the standpoint of recognizing that in your completion, in your wholeness, you're extending some of your joy. You're extending some of what you have going on, some of that positive energy, some of that goodness, right? And in that way, you can be truly confident, because if you're in competition with anything else, you will always feel like you're not as powerful as you could be because your power is being counteracted. And true power, you guys definitely know this, true power would have to be absolute. It would have to be unchallenged in order for it to be true power, or else it's not really power. It's contesting something, and so it's in some way diminished, right? It's got to be diminished. It's like if you're fighting against something, then obviously you're not your full self. You're in a state of inner conflict to a certain degree. So that's not going to work, right? So when we're talking about confidence, we're talking about getting so powerful in the idea that we are this one beautiful self, that we can show up as that. For instance, in the form of, let's say, somebody who's on stage and trying to sing or speak to an audience, public speaking, one of people's greatest fears, by the way, right? If you're public speaking, you're in front of an audience and you're speaking, you're on that mic and you're speaking there, if all your thoughts are over there with them of, oh, what are they thinking? Oh, they could think this about what I said. Or some of these topics I have are real edgy. They could call. If you're in that space around that, then you're immediately in a space of judgment, self-judgment firstly, but then judgment in terms of the audience as well, because you're watching them and thinking what they're thinking. So you're thinking for them, right? But if you're thinking like that, that is a conflict in mind. So you will feel uneasy, but then you'll have a good cause to feel uneasy as well, won't you? Right? But if it is that same case, you're up there, right? And you're looking at this as a sharing of the energy that you have with people who are happy and excited to hear from you. Like you would be that type of speaker who's there, or that type of listener. Let me speak of the listener. If you're that type of listener who's there and you listen to people and you lean in and you hear what they're saying and you really tune in to what they're saying, do you know how powerful that is for the speaker? If a receiver is there, all right, and they're really tuning in, that's the person in the crowd who's like this. They're there and they're listening to you and they're like, yeah, yes. And you see them engaged. That there pulls the speaker to be able to speak at a higher level. So understand that listening and speaking, although they seem like two separate things, they're activities just like breathing, just like the heart beating, that work together. And if you have a listener that's like this, that's just flat faced, unexpressive, not engaged at all, not to judge anybody, but let's just say that is the circumstance, then it will be hard to deliver that message, because the mind itself will go racing, wondering, how can I? How can I do something to make this different? How can I do something to move or inspire this person? And that's a different activity to just sharing what you're at, right? So we can help each other, is what I'm really saying here. If a listener is a powerful listener, that inspires the speaker to be a better speaker as well. So surround yourself with really good listeners. That's a good idea sometimes, right? When people can listen, can tune in, cannot interrupt every single second, but just listen, just tune into what's there and let you express. Sometimes that's exactly what you need to begin to get that flow going, right? So it's good to have friends like that if you have friends like that. And on the other part of that too, the speaker, right, would have to involve the self or learn to work with the mind to the point where when he or she is speaking, again, he's in that state or she's in that state of feeling that on the other end, he or she's being listened to, that somebody's actually getting something out of this which worth doing, and they're seeing them in that positive space. Let's go back to the stage. If you're on stage and everybody in the audience is there and in your mind they're tuned in, they're listening, their spirit, they're connected, and you feel that, then you can say what you need to say right there where you need to say it, because you don't have the back and forth in your own head about what you're about to say. You're just going to say it. And that's calming, right? That's easy. That's connection. That's communication. That's proper communication, right? And that's how we can communicate. So, confidence, then, if I really break it down, it's about communicating at a level where you feel like yourself, communicating yourself, right? And let's break it down to other scenarios as well. The writer who never writes. There's that person who's always like, oh, I'm an author, and you meet them up, and like, especially in LA, this happens a lot. You meet people who are authors, they're musicians, they're this, they're that, but they're never actually doing it. They just say they are, and they're not really in the craft of it per se. And it's not to criticize anybody yet again, but part of that is about the confidence too, because you can write a million books and have them on your drive somewhere stored up, and all that information is just there and you never release it. And you can call yourself a writer, but if you don't have the confidence to actually release the material to the world for the world to hear and accept it, then yes, you are a writer, but you're not an active writer in terms of sharing that material and experiencing how others would react and feel about it, and how you can move and inspire others through it. So then it's kept in that one little bubble and not really shared and expressed. So then those who could benefit from it in the world, and believe me, there are people to benefit from anything that you put out in the world, they're not going to benefit from it, right? It's just going to be beautiful thoughts in your mind. And that's good. It'll keep you feeling good and all that stuff. But it won't be the same as if you express it. When you express it, you make an impact on the world as well, right? Your energy shares through the whole, which is beautiful. So that's one way. The person who sings, who's a singer, who's too shy to get up there and sing, that's a confidence issue again, right? Because if in yourself you've practiced, you've done all this, and you know everything, you know all your skills, you know everything you need to know, but you never get up there and you never do it, you never go to a show, you never perform, you never sing with a choir, you never do any of that stuff, then okay, great, you're a great singer, but you haven't used it. And if you don't use it, the energy that is to go out into the world and bring you back, right, come back to you in an enriching form, is now not going to be able to do that for you. I hope the internet is working well enough for you guys to hear me right now. This should be a steady signal, but I just saw a little pop up there. Let me know in the comments if you're with me still, or if you're here with me right now, if you're hearing me and if we're still connected. I'd like to know. So yeah, that's two ways of looking at that, right? From the point of the writer who never writes or the singer who never sings. And these are all artsy people. But what about in our everyday life? In our everyday life, when we're just going through life and doing things that we need to do. The guy, for instance, who wants to talk to the girl over there, right? Because he has a crush or something like that, right? And he sits there in his head and just watches, to the point where it's almost creepy because he's just watching the person for really long, right? And never gets up to say hi, never says anything, only to find out years later that she actually liked him too. And if he had just walked up and said hi, then something good could have happened of it, right? So, this is the way things work. Confidence is key. And it's not something that we can really just fake, okay? Fake confidence is messy. If you're trying to put a front on and be confident when you're not really feeling it inside, what happens is most people can see right through it. most people. Most people can see right through it. And when they see right through it, it feels it feels bad. It feels bad to be in the presence of that. Like, that thing they talk about, contact shame, where you're around somebody and you feel ashamed for them, kinda, because they're kinda going through something and you could tell they're going through something. That's what it feels like when somebody's being fake confident, right? However, pause for a bit now, but I can't hear you now. Oh, you can't hear me? Holy smokes, I hope you guys can hear me. Tell me, let me know if you can hear me. I'm listening. I'm gonna hold on a bit here to make sure you can hear me, because I don't want to be speaking to myself. I definitely want to be speaking for everybody to hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. A one, two, a one, two. About to break out in song over here. If you guys do, let me know. All right, it looks like I'm on. Okay, good. So You guys still hearing me? Lovely. All right, let me keep moving. Thank you. Good. So, what was I talking about again? Somebody had to remind me now. I forget. Yes. Um, Speaking and life. Yes, everyday life. That connection to people. Now, when you wait and all these years pass by and you find out, life could have gone smoother a bit earlier. And if you are looking to bring forward something brand new to the world or bring forward something that's important to you, the fake confidence point won't work. Because what happens is when people see through you, they lack trust in you, right? Because confidence itself is with trust, having trust. If you go and you look up the etymology of the word, you see it comes from com, and then they do a little replacement for that and do con, right? And fidere, which means to trust. So with trust, having trust. And that trust doesn't come from nowhere. You don't just gain trust from nowhere. You gain trust. How do you gain trust in the world when you think about it? You gain trust in the world, or with people at least, when you interact with somebody and they show you through experience that they're trustworthy, right? When they show you that, hey, if I give them this space in my mind, if I give them this time, they will return with a good result. It'll be a good result of interacting with them. Something good will come of it. So you gain trust in that way, right? And just like that, that's how we gain trust in the world. If we were gaining trust in ourselves, then our experience of ourselves has to lead us to feeling like we could trust ourselves too, right? That's where that confidence comes from. So if your practices, which I stress a lot, teach you that, hey, this thing that I'm doing here works. I can trust that if I do this, it will work, right? Then you get confident in it because you know without a doubt that if you do this exact thing, you will get this exact result. You get trust, right? So practice is one of the things, and having success with that practice, that's the next thing. Because if you do a practice and you don't have success, then you can't be confident in it. You can't be powerful in it or feel like it's done or feel good about yourself moving into it knowing that it didn't work the last time, right? So this is where that faith is built. Faith, confidence, trust, same thing. It's all built through practice, experience, and having positive experiences or positive results from those experiences, which we call success, right? So if we're looking to look at it in that way and move towards confidence in that manner, we'll find that we naturally have confidence within us, but it becomes greater when we're willing to go through experiences to express it. When we express it, it is shown to us as, hey, this works. Hey, you're able to do this. Hey, you know you can do this. Hey, you're not just making stuff up anymore. This is what it looks like in the world. You can be confident, right? So, speaking about that, what it looks like is this: the way we apply confidence in our work and in what we do is through our practices, through our teachings, through the courses that we do and the programs that we do. For instance, right now we're stepping into the divine template. And the divine template is that format where we use some of the information from healing and everything to get that healing confidence in you, to get you to know that the modalities that you will use, that you will start to adopt as your own, are going to work. You have to see that they work, and we definitely have place for that, as well as the other part of it is the practice of it, the practical, right? And we support you as well with a strategic template to follow through so you know when you're making progress and you can keep track of the progress you're making. So all that is put together to bring that very result about, right? The result of being confident because you know what you do works and you know when you use it, it works, right? The next part of that we have going on is the certification, which for some people adds confidence, obviously, because if you're certified in something or you feel like you have at least a certificate or what you would call it, some sort of degree, in a sense, Reiki, for instance, right? You feel confident in using that because you know you went through the process and you've acquired the skill set that is necessary to do that. So you're not just winging it, right? You're not just making stuff up, okay? And that there helps. That helps because it lets you know that, hey, at least I know this part of things is how it's done. And that's okay. I'm not saying you always have to do it that way, but knowing it at least allows you to either do it or not do it, but at least you have the knowledge of it and you can use it if necessary. For instance, a singer yet again who just starts singing and never learns any skills, never does anything required. to kind of be able to move around the music in the way that they'd like to, they'll be okay, they'll be good, and they might, if they came into life with previous experience through past life, they might do really well actually. But most people have to learn and have to learn the structure so then they can diverge from that structure, right? Because most of the things that are really creative now would be kind of surprising. There's that element of surprise. There's something different about them. It can't be the same old all the time, right? But you have to know the structure in order to break the structure in order to create something different. So knowing it helps, because if you know it, you can either adhere to it, or instead of adhering to it, you can go ahead and make something brand new, but you knew the structure firstly, so then you can vary and do things and color it and make things different to it, which is beautiful. So this is how we look at it. Confidence is always built on a structure, right? The structure is the way to confidence because the practice itself allows you to acquire enough knowledge, enough information, enough experience to dive in there fully, to do the thing fully. And then when you've done the thing fully and you know the thing fully, you can start to do little surprise elements here and there that work really well and make it more of your own, right? More of your own flavor, right? Not necessarily personality flavor, but a divine flavor that's in you that wants to create, that wants to continue to evolve, that wants to continue to do things in new, more efficient ways, right? Which you can learn to do. So this is where this really moves into a whole other level of expression, right? Being able to be confident in that. And as I said, in the divine template, we have lots of room for that, and that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're up to. There's a deadline tomorrow for still $1,000 off, like I said on the page recently in the post. If you haven't read it, it's on there and definitely worth looking at. But it's a wonderful thing, and the trust in yourself is something that you can develop. Let's talk about confidence again. The trust in yourself is something that can be developed. It's not something that you just come in with. It's not something like you just wake up one day and you're like, yeah, I just trust myself, everything is good. No, no, you learn. You learn to trust, right? You learn to trust, and you learn to trust through testing. As funny as this sounds, through testing. And I'll show you what I mean by testing. Even if someone tells you God, Spirit, Source, Creator, and all these things has your back, or has you, holds you, sustains you, you could say that all you want. Unless you have experience of that, it's not really true for you as yet. It's just a saying, it's just something saying. But when you start to see things happening in life that kind of bring that back to you in the form of an experience that says, yes, wow, I don't know how that happened, but that's amazing. Something I did brought that, and then you get clear on what that something you did was, and you keep moving on that something, and you keep having new beautiful experiences because of that something. Then that something turns into something real, and that something real is now yours, and you can be confident in that something because you're tapped into it, and you know it to be the thing that is sustaining your life. And when you know that, you have good reason to be confident. You have good reason to have faith, as they would say, or good reason to be in a space of ease around things that happen in your life because you're not going to freak out every time something happens, right? You're not going to go off the rocker and flip out every time because you realize, hey, it might look bad now, but it's going to work. I know it's going to work. How do I know it's going to work? Because I have confidence in the source of all that is. And that's where true confidence really comes from. I'm going that deep with you today. It comes from your source. It comes from knowing that the thing that created it all, made it all, constructed it all, is within it all, is in you, and is listening to you, and is willing to work with you to have the best outcome happen always. Even if you might be able to see the best outcome in that instant, you yourself might not see the best outcome. That's a funny thing with us. We sometimes don't even see the best outcome. We think we have the best outcome, but then as we start to listen in and tune in, we realize, wait a minute, some of my thinking might have been off there, but somehow we still arrive at the proper conclusion. We still arrive at the place that we need to be. And we realize when we reach there, wow, I think I'm actually much happier than I would have been had it been the other way, right? So this is the kind of confidence we can have. We can trust in the fact that everything is working together for our good always, always. And with that, you can't lack confidence after that. You just can't, because it's not your limited self that is creating the experience to give you this idea that you're confident. It's you resting in yourself and being confident in the fact that everything is working out exactly as it has to. So you have to step up and just be yourself. Just play the role that you're meant to play. That's what I'm saying. Play your role. It's not like you're playing somebody else's role to get there. You're playing your role because your role is what you're meant to play because you're in it. So then you can be truly confident in your role because your role is exactly what you're built built to play. You're built for it. You're built for it. You're literally built for it. Right? So that's it. That's where your confidence comes from. Relying on your source and knowing fully well that you're fully equipped to be exactly what you're meant to be. All the impulses, all the desires, all the beauty that comes through you ain't coming from nowhere. It's coming from you. And it's coming from your connection to what's animating your life and leading your life and structuring your life in every single day. So if you're open to that, you have good reason to be very, very confident. In fact, you might seem to the person like you're overly confident, to someone else like you're overly confident. But how could you not be confident in the thing that has created everything that works through you and works with you and works with all things at all times? Right? And I know we're taking it a bit on the spiritual here, but life is spiritual. It's simple in that way, right? We try to make it complex and act like we have to break it down into many different categories. We live a spiritual experience. It's what it is. So why try to fight with that? Just live it and use the abilities and use the knowledge, the information, the wisdom that you're given along the journey and just follow that. And you still get to do everything you want to do. You just recognize the source of everything that you want. And in recognizing that, you have reason to be calm, to be clear, to be collected and connected. Easy, right? I know it's not so easy. It takes practice. But guess what? We have lots of time to have practice. And practice leads us to wonderful results. So then why not do the necessary practices to continue to grow and expand, right? Ah, good. Okay. So I hope some of this landed. I hope some of this you're going to take away. I hope some of this you're going to apply. I hope if you're a person who's on the edge and looking at what we're moving into, the divine template, that it strikes you in a way that you're ready to move forward. You're ready to become that confident and clear healer that you want to be, or that coach that you want to be, or that light leader, and lead powerfully, lead intuitively, lead with inside, lead like yourself, lead like your true self. If that's what you're up to, join us to do that, right? To join us, shoot me a message. I will be here. Right? I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. Shoot me a message and I will be in contact and follow up with that, right? And if you're meant to be with us for this time, we'll have a lovely time together doing that and continue your growth, your expansion, your business growth as well. We're going to touch on that. So if you're up to creating a business and you need the format to get your group and everything together and to get things going, we're actually going to touch on that as well in this. So it's a good time for you if that's what you're interested in. And we definitely have what we need to help you to do that, structure that, okay? So beautiful to be here with you today. I hope you had as magnificent a Monday as I did so far. It's great to connect with you, and I hope you have the rest of the day in beauty and joy and love and peace. And I will catch you soon, okay? Eternal love and infinite peace.
Thank you so much for joining us today on another episode of the Rising Consciousness Show. For more high vibration conversations, meditations, energy activations, and tips and tools on creating your most exceptional life, we lovingly invite you to connect with us at academyoflight.ca. The website is www.academyoflight.ca. It is time to create your heaven on earth experience, and we look forward to sharing this beautiful journey with you.
You're listening to Rising Consciousness, yeah.
Woo!
Woo!